Hello everybody and welcome to the first of 9 lectures on the computer science principles performance tasks. Now today we're going to be going over very broadly what the lectures are going to be composed of and what topics are going to be within the performance tasks. Now I'm Adek, all of you guys know me, at least I hope you know me. I got a 5 on this exam back in 2017, 2018, and I was the only person from my class to get a 5 at the time, and that was because I went through the College Board materials and I basically read, okay, what is it that they're asking for? One by one, I looked through all their instructions and I managed to fit it to their instructions. Now, this year, not much has changed from those instructions, so I'm going to basically go over what I did that helped me get a 5 my year. So, very first and foremost, we're going to go over what lectures I'm going to be covering throughout these multiple ones. So the very first one, which is what we're doing right now, is just a very quick introduction. It's literally just going to talk a bit about each specific part in the performance task, and again, just a bit about how the lectures are going to be structured. Now, the first performance task, also the second lecture, is going to be the explore performance task. And we'll go a bit more over it right now, but that's going to be the second lecture. Third lecture is going to be the computational artifact. We'll go over that again. The essay responses, this is for lecture 4, for the explore performance task. The fifth lecture is going to be on the create performance task. This is the program that you're going to have to make. Lecture 6, the video of the program. Lecture 7, the essay responses for the create task. Lecture 8 is going to be the code you're going to submit. And then finally, Lecture 9 is just a quick conclusion. I know it sounds like a lot, but I promise we'll go through it all. So, what each lecture contains. There's going to be four things that each lecture contains. And it's first going to be like a little brief review of what we went over last time. So this is going to be around, I want to say, 1 slide long. Obviously, we don't have it this time because this is our very first lecture. But from now on, you'll see that in the beginning of each one. You're obviously going to have a lecture on the current topic. So today we're going to be talking about just an introduction to the tasks. A practice assignment that you're going to do on your own. Now, this is totally up to you if you want to do this assignment. I personally recommend it because it'll create like a good structure to how you get your tasks done. It'll be around 1 slide towards the end of every lecture. And then finally, just like around 1 slide, a quick look into what we're going to be doing next time. Now, this is where we start with a bit of the summaries as to what each task contains. So the first one's going to be the explore performance task. We're going to go over this more in depth, right? This is just a summary, but just so you know, explore performance task is going to be where you basically research a computing innovation. Now, what is a computing innovation? It's an innovation that has computers in it. Very, computers, innovation. It has to do with one another. But in all seriousness, it's just an invention or creation with some computer aspects involved in it. And it has to have impacted the world. It could be positively, it could be negatively. Actually, for this project, it'll be both, but we'll go over that in just a second. And then what you need to submit on the website. So you're going to have to submit 2 different things. The first thing is going to be your computational artifact. Sounds very fancy. It's not fancy, I promise you. It's going to be a PDF, a video, an audio file, one of those 3 things, and it just needs to talk about what the innovation does and what the innovation's effect is. Again, we're going to go into a lot more detail about this, so don't worry. What you're going to need to submit, you're going to have to submit your essay responses besides the artifact. So the essay responses, this is what typically takes the most time in my opinion. It might not take a lot of time for you if you're a really good writer. Now the essay has 5 different parts and the first 4 are going to be actual essays. The 5th is going to have to do with sources that you're going to submit. And again, we're going to go over all this one more time. Now, the A part, this is going to be about just information about the innovation and then how you made your artifact. B is going to be about how you... Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I made a little mistake there. A is going to be the information about the innovation and then how the artifact represents the innovation as a whole. B is going to be how you created your artifact. C is going to be at least 1 beneficial and then 1 harmful effect of the innovation. D is going to be just how the data that the innovation uses is converted from input to output, what kind of data it uses, and then at least 1 data storage or privacy concern. And then E is just going to be your sources. You're going to have at least 3 and 2 of them within the last year. We're going to go over it again, so it's okay if you didn't catch all that. The create performance task, my favorite, also the most work. Not a big deal though. Your goal is going to be to create a program that solves a problem. Keyword, it solves a problem. It is not going to be something that you figure, oh, it's fun, it's great. It may be fun, but it needs to solve a problem. If it doesn't solve a problem, it's not worth your time. Make something that solves a problem. What you need to submit. This is a little more complicated because obviously you're creating something on your own. The first is going to be a video of the program running. Literally just going to be you going through the program and it's running. Very, very simple. Essay responses, there aren't 5 in this one because there aren't really any sources besides you creating the program, hopefully, if you didn't, if you did it yourself, or at least with people that are not people besides the people you're working with. The 4 essays, the first one's going to be you explaining about the program. Literally just talk about the program in terms of what language it uses, what purpose it has, and then what the video you recorded shows, as in what features the video shows. B is going to be describing the process of you creating your program, difficulties you face, opportunities you face, how you use those opportunities or you resolve those difficulties, and then whether it was collaborative or independent. We're going to go over this, don't worry. C, you're describing in depth an algorithm that you used. We'll go over that. And then describe in depth an abstraction and how it managed your program. We'll go over that. A lot of interesting words that you may not know, but don't worry, we'll go over that. Code. This one's new. You probably didn't see this in the last one. That's because obviously when you're creating a program, you're going to have code, and you need to paste that code and send it all to College Board so you can be properly graded and get that 5. Now, when you get the code, you're going to have to capture and paste all that code into a PDF. You're going to have to comment where, like, let's say code has been made by another person. Again, we'll go over that. You're going to mark with an oval where there's an algorithm. This is what you talked about in part C. And then you're going to mark with a rectangle the abstraction for part D. Okay, so before we even get started on any of these tasks, because each one has a lecture that we'll later go in more depth about, I'm going to recommend 3 things. 3 very, very, very important things that'll help you a lot. So the first is going to be researching your computing innovation. Come up with a couple of nice innovations. It doesn't have to be something definite right now, but just have an idea of where you're leaning towards. And then search on Google, like, can I find some sources about this innovation? Preferably, remember, find 2 different sources that have been within the last year, like they've been published within the last year, and you need a maximum of 3 sources. And remember, positive impact and negative impact. You want both impact on society, culture, and economy. Then obviously you can start creating your program. The earlier you start, the better you start, so you're not like waiting last minute. I personally recommend using Scratch. However, if you don't want to use that, or if you feel like you know a bit better like how to use some other programming language, totally up to you. It's just I use Scratch. It saved me a lot of time. But again, if you're more comfortable in something else, go for it. Now get your tools ready. We'll go again in a bit more depth as to what tools I recommend you use, especially when it comes to like recording the video or for exporting PDFs and stuff like that. But for just right now, a good video recorder you could use for Mac is your QuickTime Player. It should probably, hopefully, be built into your Mac already. And then for Windows, you can download this thing called Screencast-O-Matic. I'll give the links and everything within, I want to say, which lecture? 3rd lecture? Probably the 3rd lecture. But you could literally just Google search and you'll find what I'm talking about. And of course, you're free to use anything you like. If you have a really high quality video editor and very high quality just video recorder, by all means, please use it. I'm not stopping you from using that. But I would like to point out when it comes with video editors, you're not going to be able to actually use it in your create performance task. And that's because it's going to have to be uninterrupted footage of your program running. We'll go over that, but just keep that in mind because we're going to mention it later. And then when it comes for the PDFs, because remember all your Word responses, like essay responses, and then your code are going to have to be submitted as separate PDFs. Most document like processors like Microsoft Word or Pages on Mac, all those things, they typically have a feature that lets you export to PDF. So as long as you have one of those, it should work fine. However, just do a quick Google search if you're not 100% sure, and it should be fine. Now, what we're going to review next time, we're going to have the explore performance task, and this is going to be the one about the computational innovation and what basically makes a good computational innovation. How do I find good sources? This is going to be a very, very big tip. But just look through Google right now if you have an idea of where you can find some. And then last but not least, just AP rules and guidelines for the innovation. That's all for lecture 1, people. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time for the Explore Performance task.